Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video of Odoo project, we will discuss the topic project types. Before discussing the different project types, let's first of all we have to review some terms in how we will consider the project hours. There are three different types that we use in our Odoo this Odoo project app. First one is the bill on timesheets. Bill on timesheets are these are the total hours invested on the project, and the project is invoiced with reference to the timesheet. So if the project is invoiced with the reference to the timesheet, then the total hours spent on that project will be considered as the billed on timesheets. And the second type is the bill on fixed price. These are the total hours invested on the project, and the project is invoiced with reference to the ordered quantity. So here the difference is this, that in the first one, in the bill of timesheets, the project was invoiced with the reference of the timesheet, and in the bill of fixed hours, the project is invoiced with the reference of the ordered quantity of the order. And then third type is the non-billable task. These are the hours invested on the project which fail to create any sale order, even though they are included in the timesheet. We have four different types of projects in our Odoo. And the first one is known as the timesheet project. So timesheet projects are invoiced with the reference to the timesheet hours, as was in the previous slide. That first type was the build on timesheets. So this is related to the timesheet projects. These projects are invoiced with reference to the timesheet hours. For this project, first of all, we have to create a service product in our sales app, and while creating that project, we have to provide the following settings in that product. Our service policy should be timesheet on task, and our service tracking will be create a task in an existing project, and in the project we will select any existing project to fulfill that our service tracking requirement, that we have to select any existing project. So these three settings we have to set. The service policy will be timesheet on task, and our service tracking will be create a task in an existing project, and then we have to select the project. So let's we move to our demo database to check this type of project. First of all, I go to the project, and here I create a new project. Suppose I give the name this timesheet project, and the timesheets are on. So I create, and then we can even if we want to put the different stages, we can put this, but the discussion of our today's video is just on the project types. So I skip this, and now I move to sales app, and in sales app we have to create a product. If I move to products, and I search here that either I have that product or not. So if I go for the service products, here we can see we have a product with the name of service invoice on timesheets. And in the settings, yes, first of all we have to check that what is the product type. It should be service. Yes, it's a service. This is a sale price, that is 100. And if we go to the sales tab, in the sales tab, first of all we have to check the service invoicing policy, and as discussed earlier, our sale invoicing policy should be timesheet on tasks. We will select this one. Then service tracking will be create a task in an existing project, and from here we have to select the project. So we will check the timesheet project. So these are three settings. Timesheets, if we save on, timesheet on tasks is the invoicing policy, and the service tracking policy is create a task in an existing project, and this one is the project. Now let's say create a order, and we select the customer, let's say Mr. Mujahid, ABC Trading, and in the products I select that product service invoice on timesheets, Let's say I choose the quantity 40. Quantity is 40, and then I save this. When I will confirm it, here you can see we have the project overview and we have one task. One task have been created because our setting was that in the product. Here you can see that our setting was our service setting was create a task in an existing project, in the timesheet project. So if we move to our sale order, one task is there. If we move to that task, we can see here a task has been created for the service order number 0005. That was our service order number, and the service is, that is the name of the product, and the project is timesheet project. Here we can change the properties of this one. If we can assign this product to, let's say I assign this product to Mr. Sarfraz. We can assign the deadline and we can assign the different tags if we want to assign this one, and we save. If we move to our project, if we go to the project menu and we open that timesheet project, here we can see that we have one task there. I can open this task. So this task we have the tag new feature and it have been assigned to Mr. Sarfraz. Now if we open this task and let's say we fill the timesheet of this task, here you can see that the planned hours are 40. So because the quantity of that sale order was 40. Next, Mr. Sarfraz filled here the timesheet of this one on date 4, let's say, by employee Sarfraz. Just I give the test 1 description, and he spent I say 10 hours. I think my numbers are off here, so I choose a 10. Then on 5th, again Mr. Sarfraz spent and here is the description. Here the descriptions can be different one review. Let's say if I give here I think a review, then here he spent 10 hours for design, and again he spent 10 hours here. If I save this, so here we can see that the total planned hours were 40 and the remaining hours are 20 hours have been used, and here we can see the progress that 50% hours out of that 40 planned hours have been used in this task. So now if I come back to let's say our this project and we go to the overview. In overview we can see here that 20 hours have been timesheeted by Mr. Sarfraz, and that is 100% of all that hours, because all hours are timesheet hours. It's possible that in one project some tasks can be timesheet tasks and some tasks can be fixed price tasks. Then the percentage of timesheet hours will be here, and the percentage, let's say if there are 20 hours total hours, if the timesheet is of 40 hours and 20 hours are timesheet hours and 20 hours the fixed price hours, then these percentage will be 50%. Here all 100% 20 hours are timesheet hours, and the total hours are 20. On the right side we can see that still we have not generated the invoice, and to invoice amount is 2000. How this 2000? Because 20 hours and per hour cost was of that product was 100, so 20 multiplied by 100, that is a 2000, that is yet to invoice. In the timesheet cost is 0. Why this is 0? We have to check, and here we can check that for Mr. Sarfraz he have used 20 hours, and all these hours are billed on timesheet. You can check here the color, and if we go to the bottom of this, from here we can see that service on timesheets by Mr. Sarfaraz, and here information, and for this a sale order, and the total 40 hours were sold and 20 hours are remaining. First of all, we have to check that why these hours are not updated, but first we should let's say create the invoice. If I create the invoice, regular invoice, and here we can see when we are generating this invoice, then the quantity is 20 automatically, because we have filled the timesheet for the 20 hours. So if we post this, that's when I have confirmed that invoice, and now again I come to the overview. Here I can see that 20 hours 2000 amount have been invoiced, but still there is some problem in this time cost calculation. For that, if I check and if I go to employees, and here I select Sarfraz employee, I open Mr. Sarfraz, and in his HR settings, yes, his timesheet cost hours are 0 here. So if I change this to suppose I say 70, save, and just to incorporate this information in that project, if I go to the tasks, and if I open that task, and in timesheets, if I change minor information, if I change these hours to 9 hours, we cannot modify. Let's say we add one more line here, and with Mr. Sarfraz for design, and now for testing, he used 5 hours. Here the information was 10, so the total hours are now 25, and we save this information. Okay, let's say first of all discard this one, and now added this, and now we change this on 6th of this Mr. Sarfraz in testing, he used 5 hours. Yes, now this have been saved. Now if we move to the project, and we go to the overview, now here we can see that 5 hours and 2000 is have been invoiced, 5000 yet have to be invoiced, and for that 5 hours 350 is the cost. Actually first we have to fill the cost of that employee before proceeding, before you can say before saving the timesheet, to apply the rate of that employee. So first, and for first initial 20 hours the rate was 0, so that means the cost timesheet cost was 0, and for last 5 hours the cost is now 350, and here we can see all that information, that 25 hours have been used by Mr. Sarfraz, and now 15 hours are remaining, and we can invoice for the next 5 hours. Let's say if we just to furthermore elaborate this one, if I go to another employee here, and I choose Mr. Hamad, and I set his suppose here in his rating I set his rate suppose here 50, and I save this, and then I move to that project, and in that project I open that task, and while opening this I fill the timesheet of for the 5th for Mr. Hamad in testing, or in design we can say he used 5 hours. If I save this information, now we can say 30 hours have been used and 10 hours remaining, that means 75 hours have been used. And if we move to the project overview. Here we can say 600 is the cost, 30 are total timesheet hours, 2000 have been invoiced and 1000 yet have to be invoiced, and this is the cost of 5 hours of Mr. Sarfaraz, and then 5 hours of Mr. Hamad. Mr. Hamad's rate we have set as 50, so 50 multiplied by 5, 250, and 70 by 5, 350 of Sarfaraz. So 600 is the time cost. And here we can see now that 25 hours have been timesheeted by Mr. Sarfaraz, and 5 hours have been timesheeted by Mr. Hamad, and that same information is on the below window. And these 30 hours will reflect on this sale order. But if we go to the create invoice, here we can see one task is related to this project, and one sale order is related to this project, and one invoice is related to this project. If we create another invoice, and this time we can see we have invoice of 1000. Let's say we open this one and we post this one. Now again, if we come back to overview, here we can see we have two invoices. So by clicking on this button we can switch to that invoices window. By clicking on this button we can switch to the sale order window, and from this we can get our tasks, and from this we can get our timesheets that have been filled by employees on this project. So this was our project type that was built on timesheets. Now we move to our next project type, and our next project type is, as you can see here, is the fixed project. Our next project type is the fixed project. For fixed projects are such projects which are based on the invoiced quantity, and for these there's just one difference. Our timesheet projects were based on the timesheet hours, and fixed projects are based on the invoiced quantity. And there is only one difference in the setting of the project. While creating the product for the fixed projects, we have to change our service policy. Here we will have to set the service policy as the ordered quantity, while in the previous type of project, timesheet projects, this was timesheeted quantity was the service policy, and here we will set our service policy as ordered quantity. And then our service tracking will be create a task in an existing project, and our project will be we will have to select a project from the available of the selected projects list. So let's check this one by setting creating a project of this type, and then checking the behavior in our demo project demo database. If I switch to my demo database here, then here we can see that we have these projects. First of all, we will create a new project, and we will name our project as fixed project. Create. Then we will switch to our sales, and then we will switch to our sales app, and in that sales app we will go to products, and we will go to the products. Here first of all I check either the product is available with the same name. Yes, we have this service fixed product, and for this product the product type is service, and we have set the service invoicing policy as the ordered quantity. That's right. And the service tracking policy is create a task in an existing project. That is also right. And here we have to select the project. So from here we will click the fixed project. So all these three settings are required, that our service invoicing policy should be ordered quantity, and our service tracking policy should be create a task in an existing project, and we have to select some existing project from here. Now let's say create a sale order. Create, and again we choose that same customer, and from the products we choose the product service fixed. This time let's say we choose 20 hours, and we save this one. And when we confirm this order, here we can see we have one task in that project. We can directly go to the task, or we can go to our project overview, and from there we can go to the task. This is our fixed project, and this is one task, and this is the overview. And you can see here that in this overview no time sheet have been entered yet, but our to invoice is 2400, because this project depends upon does not depend upon the timesheet hours, but it depends upon the ordered quantity. So our ordered quantity is 20 hours with the rate of 120. So 120 multiplied by 20, that is 2400 we have to invoice. Now let's switch to the task and fill out. If we added this one, we can assign this task to somebody, and directly we can fill the sheet. Here we can see that planned hours are 20. If we add this line, and let's say we say that Mr. Hamad, while designing, have used 10 hours on this project. So 10. And now if we go to the overview, we can see here that these 10 hours are now reflected in bill at fixed price, and our that invoice hours, two invoice hours are again the same, and the timesheet cost is 500. That's been 10 multiplied by 50, that is a rate of that employee, that is 500. And here we can see the hours filled by Mr. Hamad's sheet, and these 10 hours will be are in this sale order number 0028, and these are for our fixed service. And in April 10 he have used these 10 hours. Total sold hours are 20, and 10 hours are the remaining hours. If we create the invoice from here, then here we can see that the total number of hours in this are 20 instead of 10, because our invoicing policy was ordered quantity. So if we confirm this one, and again if I now come back to overview, here we can see that that 2400 have been invoiced, and our total profit is 1900. To elaborate it more, let's say if again I move to sales, I am in sales. So if I go to the products, and I select the product service, here I have another this product service fixed with timesheet. That's mean actually I want to create a sale order with the fixed you can say with the ordered invoice policy, and I want to I want to create the task in our timesheet hours. Actually in one project I want to use two different type of tasks, one based on timesheet and one based on fixed hours. So for this product, the product type is a service. If I go to sales, here I have ordered quantity and create a task in an existing project, and my project is the previous one, that is a timesheet project. So in that project we had used this policy, timesheet on tasks in timesheet project. Some hours are there, but I want to create a new task with this invoicing policy, ordered quantity in that. So I save this, and if I create a new order, let's say create order with the same and if I go to product and I choose that fixed timesheet product, let's say for 10 hours, save, I create this one, confirm. If I go to my project overview, here we can see we have two tasks there. If I click on this one, these two tasks are there, and if I go to the overview, here we can see that 30 hours are billed on timesheet that have been filled by the employee, 25 by Sarfaraz and 5 by Hamad, and 3000 have been invoiced to that customer, 30 multiplied by 100, and 1200 have to be invoiced because these 1200 are with the invoiced quantity. So 1200, 10 multiplied by 120. Now let's say if we move to the tasks and we open that task, that new task, that is with the sale order number 29, service fixed timesheet, and Directly we added this one and fill the timesheet of someone employee. 10 planned hours are there. If we add a line, and for Mr. Hamad, let's say I filled this one with the design. He used let's say 5 hours. So 5 hours have been filled and the progress is 50%. And if I go to the overview, here now we can see 30 hours are for the timesheet hours and 5 hours for the fixed price hours. And now we can come to this percentage. Out of these 35 hours, 30 hours for the timesheet, that's mean near about 86% hours were used were billed on timesheets, and almost 14 hours were billed at the fixed price. And the timesheet cost is have been changed. These 5 hours have been added to this timesheet hours. These are the these have been invoiced, and this have yet to be invoiced. If we create the invoice, then we can check that invoice will be generated for all 10 hours. Although we have filled the timesheet for the 5 hours, but our invoicing, depending upon the invoicing policy, here 10 hours will be used while creating the invoice. So we post this invoice, and if we go to the overview, now we can see that all that hours have been invoiced, and this was the cost, this was the profit. Now if we come back come down to the time people by people, here we can see that 25 hours were for Mr. Sarfraz and 10 hours were for Mr. Hamad. But out of these 10, 5 were with billed on timesheets, and 5 are billed at fixed price. So we can see here with the differentiation of the different colors. And if we go bottom on the timesheets, we can see here that in this sale order 25 hours of Mr. Sarfraz and 5 hours of Mr. Hamad were for this service invoice on timesheets, and these were for this sale order. And 5 hours of Mr. Hamad were for service fixed timesheet, and these were for this sale order. And in this sale order we have sold 40 hours and 10 hours are now remaining, and here we have sold 10 hours and 5 hours are remaining hours. And even if from here, if we let's say click on this blue line, then we will see only the timesheet of this blue, and if we click on this one, then we will see the timesheet of that. That's mean by clicking on any, and if we click here, let's say, and then the timesheet of Mr. Sarfraz and Mr. Hamad, both the timesheets that are billed on timesheets, these 25 hours and these 5 hours will be available by clicking on this one. And if we will click on this one, then we will get only these 5 timesheet hours. So this was and here you can see that we have 2 different sale orders, 2 tasks, 2 sale orders. One sale order were for timesheet hours and one for the fixed price, and we have 3 invoices because already we have generated the 2 invoices for these timesheet hours, one for 20 hours, one for 10 hours, and then the third invoice is for these 5 invoices. If we click on this one, then we will give that invoices. So that's all about these 2 types of projects that we have discussed. One were the timesheet projects, and the second one was the fixed projects. There are 2 more types that we will discuss in some other video. And thanks for watching, and I am waiting for your feedback. I hope that you will give your positive or negative feedback regarding these videos. In the meantime, I will generate some record some other videos for you. Thank you for watching. Allah Hafiz.